This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Elan's Matchup Maximizer, a podcast presented by Keaton Carlson, where I, Elan Dubrowski, take a look at next week's NHL schedule, try to figure out which teams we're targeting for our streams in our head-to-head matchups in order to maximize our chances of winning those matchups, getting those extra games, getting those extra points to give us that slight edge over our opponent. Now, of course, ideally, we don't need an edge. Like, in this little way, we're going to win by like 50 points, but sometimes it's going to come down to 2 or 3, and making the right streams, potentially even early in the week, could end up making a big difference. And that's what we're here to do today, is to look at which teams we want to target. Of course, we want volume. We want as many games as possible from the players we add. And we do need to take into account if the player is playing on a busy day. If you add a guy, you can't even fit him into your roster. That doesn't help. That doesn't do anything for you to get those points on the bench. We all have experienced this past week a whole bunch of points on the bench. I benched 2 Tyson Forrester goals this week on Wednesday and Friday. No fun. The games I did fit him in, Monday and today, didn't get anything so far. Is this Philly game over today? I'm recording this, by the way, Saturday. It's 8:47. It's 4-2 for the Flyers right now against New Jersey, just to give you a sense of when I'm recording this. So I've got a lot of data for you from, of course, all week, and then a little bit of data for you from today. A couple early games. Looks like Timo Meier just scored a power play goal from Dawson Mercer. But we don't care about them. Actually, the Devils have a really good schedule this week, so maybe we care if you can get like a Dawson Mercer. But we'll get to them in a bit. I'm going to look at the best schedules, like I said. Hopefully you all did well in your week 8. It was a crazy week, like I said. Wednesday, Friday were super full. Thursday, there were no games. Saturday, today, there was like a few games, and then tomorrow there's going to be a few games. So next week is a nice, typical, good streaming week. Nothing crazy going on, okay? We're looking at busy days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, but even those days aren't even that busy. Tuesday, 20 teams playing. Thursday, 20 teams playing, and then Saturday, 24 teams playing. So it's definitely possible that you can fit people in on those Tuesday and Thursday, and even potentially on the Saturday. 24 teams playing is like borderline there, where maybe you can fit a D, maybe you can fit like a left wing, kind of depends how your roster is made up. So definitely, before you go any farther in this episode, go set your roster for every day next week. Make sure you know where your openings are, so you don't take any of my advice and then find out you added a guy for 4 games. You can only fit 3. What's the point? But there are 2 teams that you'll almost for sure be able to fit 4 games. Those are the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks, because our 2 Western Conference teams both play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I will say, like on Sunday, 16 teams are playing. You could have like the exact opposite luck and like actually be full that day. So maybe just check just to be absolutely sure. Maybe for like a specific position, maybe you're full on center on Sunday. So make sure to check. But let's assume that you're able to fit in all 4 games from someone you add from either Anaheim or San Jose. The question then becomes who to target. I mean, with Anaheim, Brian and I on the Mega Show we've talked over all these players so much. At this point, there's no surprises of who we're going to talk about here. The Ducks they've been changing around their top 6 in terms of like who's on which line, but it's the same 6 guys. Like I saw in practice today, McTavish was centering Seneke and Kreider. So Kreider split up from Troy Terry, and then so the top line was Carlson, Terry, and Gauthier. Those are the 6 you want. It's easy. And like you can't get any of them except for maybe you can get Beckett Seneke because he's only 15% rostered on Yahoo. Pretty highly rostered in Cupful. I actually grabbed him earlier this week. He was dropped. I blew all the rest of my fab to get him. And so far, no complaints. He's gotten a point in every single game of Anaheim's last 6 games. Just like, assists mainly. He has a 3-game assist streak going. I don't love looking at these new lines and seeing Seneke away from Gauthier. There was a moment where he was even on the top power play and Cutter Gauthier was on the second power play. There was no way that was going to last. So Seneke is obviously, not like the top tier level, but of the guys you could potentially add on Anaheim, I want anyone in that top 6, which I guess does include Mason McTavish, who's finally heated up a little bit. He had 2 assists in the win yesterday against LA, had a goal the game before versus Vancouver. So yeah, again, I'll say the names. You check and see who's available to you. But Carlson, Troy Terry, Cutter Gauthier, McTavish, Kreider, Beckett Seneke, you want either of those guys. That's also going to cover your top power play with, of course, Jackson Lacombe. Now, of course, you're thinking, okay, but Elan, I still want to add a Duck, and all these people are taken. There's no other options for me. Well, guess what? There's actually a couple other interesting names over on defense. You can go with old, reliable Radko Gudas, who only has 1 goal in 6 games since returning from his injury. No assists, but like a ton of blocks, ton of hits, some good numbers of shots. So he's getting like 3.5, 3.75 cupful points every game. That's like decent for a defenseman. I'm regretting not having added him when I had the chance, just because you're getting that. I've been excited about having like a Mike Matheson or something, but he still sometimes, when he doesn't get a point, he gets like 1.75, 1.5 kind of thing. So Gudas he'll probably get more points. He's probably going to get more than 1 point every 6 games. You could probably expect at least 2 points every 6 games. So you're going to get maybe a goal or an assist a week along with all of these hits and blocks and shots. So that's a pretty safe option. Or if you want to roll the dice a little bit, you can go with Olen Zellweger, who, isn't on the top power play in Anaheim. It doesn't look like he's going to be bumping Jackson Lacombe anytime soon. But Zellweger is putting up some points lately. He's got a 3-game point streak going. Scored against LA, assist the game before versus Vancouver. Scored against Vegas, taking some shots, 2, 3, 3, and 5 shots in his last 4 games. So you're not getting many hits and blocks from Zellweger. You're definitely hoping for offense, and it's like the ice time isn't that high. Like there's no real indication from looking at anything to expect that this should continue with him not getting a lot of power play time and not playing big minutes. But he's producing. He's an offensive player. So for 4 games, of course, when you're adding a D, then you may think like, do you want 3 games from a forward versus 4 games from a D? You'll have to make that decision. But I think, of the guys that might be available to you in Anaheim, we're looking at Seneke at forward, Gudas or Zellweger at D. I know Frank Vetrano is still pretty highly rostered. I think these people are snoozing big time. Like, sure, he can potentially get a goal at some, like he's pointless in I think like 10 games or something, and he only played less than 10 minutes in the game against LA. So I think it's pretty clear Frank Vetrano is yesterday's news. Don't be fooled into adding him. If anything, I'd probably even go with like Alex Killorn over a Vetrano at this point. He actually did get an assist in the last game, taking a couple shots a game, so that's something. Killorn I was going to look at yesterday's game, but I've got the practice lines for today. So Paling, Killorn, Nestorenko is our 3rd line, and then Ryan Strome, Vetrano, and Johnston is the 4th line. Well, Strome and Vetrano, they were like at one point like one of the top lines. But the youth have taken over in Anaheim. You could also look at goalie. You can go like Petr Mrazek since Dostal is injured. I don't know about that. Like, I don't know how well that will work out for you, but I guess like he'll probably get you positive points. Like, it'll probably be better, actually, than your average from a Gudas. I guess it depends how many games Mrazek gets in for you. Maybe they'll play Ville Husso for a game or 2. Okay, that's the Ducks. Then we can go over to our other option, which would be the San Jose Sharks. Like I said, I'm recording this around 9 Eastern on Saturday, so I'm not going to have the data for you from the game tonight against Vegas. So you can check and see what happened there. They are coming off, San Jose, a win against Vancouver 3-2 a couple days ago. And they were led, of course, by the likes of Macklin Celebrini, who had a couple assists. Will Smith scored a goal. William Eklund had a goal. Adam Gaudette scored a goal. You can go with Adam Gaudette. Like I tell you, I mean, he's like every once in a while. I mean, we saw with the Senators last year, there was always a chance that Gaudette would do something. The top power play in the game had Dmitry Orlov there, not John Klingberg. Orlov, Wenberg, Celebrini, Smith, Eklund. So assuming you can't, I mean, it's pretty obvious you want like Eklund. I think he's only 35% rostered. So if you can get William Eklund, I like him on the top power play. If you can't get him, I know Tyler Toffoli is available in a lot of leagues. He does now have 2 assists in his last 3 games. I don't love Toffoli in general. It is a nice schedule, so this would be the kind of week to get him, though Toffoli's been... And actually, he did play on the top line with Celebrini and Smith last game. If that lasts, that's obviously pretty great. So, yeah, I guess I'd go Eklund first. Then if you can get Toffoli, go for him. Might as well for the 4 games. You can get Orlov, and if he holds top power play, that could be pretty good, though he hasn't done much with it at all. Then I guess you have to look at an Alex Wenberg, because if he's on the top power play, he did have an assist in the last game. So yeah, there's not like incredible options here. It's all like kind of a little similar-ish. But I think Orlov, Wenberg are a tier below Eklund and Toffoli. And then, I mean, then it's like Kurashev was interesting for a moment, but he's now... like at least in the last game. And again, it could change. Like a team that changes their lines a lot, they could just do it again. But Kurashev was on the 3rd line with Delandria and Graf. So have I given you the lines? Celebrini, Toffoli, Smith, and then Wenberg with Eklund and Adam Gaudette. It was the last game. So yeah, I guess I got to mention Adam Gaudette. If he sticks on the line with Wenberg and Eklund, it like doesn't sound that incredible. But if you want to get 4 games, the thing is, it's also 4 games including Sunday. I'd obviously prefer if you can get those games a little earlier, but even if you consider the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you shift off, you're not going to get anyone else that's going to give you 3 games before Friday. So, but there's more options. Like Buffalo, for example, just goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you could always just get a Buffalo stream if you like one of those guys better than a Wenberg or a Gaudette or something, with the plan to just move away on Sunday. So you don't have to like lock in, I need my 4 game ads. If anything, I like targeting people who have a couple games like early in the week. And then you could potentially move on, depending on how you plan to move your 4 ads. So I'm just giving you some options here. No one as exciting on San Jose as some of those guys I mentioned on Anaheim, though also these guys are more likely to be able to be acquired, the ones on San Jose. So yeah, as far as, I think you'll want to power play one guy in a Wenberg or an Orlov, though I would take it to Foley if he's on the top line. But again, the lines can change, so it gets tricky. So you'll have to check, GameDayTweets.com, get your lines. We'll see what happened tonight. You can go to Frozen Tools. I link right from Game Day Tweets, by the way, to Frozen Tools to get the last game lines to see what happened. Since by the time this is released, you'll be able to see the results of this San Jose and Vegas game. We don't even have lines from today. Come on. Where are the Sharks beat writers today giving us something? But they won the last game, so you'd think they would keep everything the same. All right, so those are the 2 teams with our best schedules. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll look at a bunch more teams that play 4 times, and maybe you can fit all 4 games also. So we'll be back in just a sec. Turkey, touchdowns, and takes. It's Thanksgiving and the action doesn't stop at the dinner table. Feast on some winnings this holiday with Pick 6, DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. It's that simple. Pick 6 brings you upside those other pick'em sites can't touch. The better you perform, the bigger your payout. And it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, and more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. New DraftKings customers can play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Are you scouring the web for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? Stop it! Get Rakuten! Rakuten is a shopping psychic that gets you cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. Right now, you can get up to 15% cash back at the stores you love. You can even stack cash back on top of the biggest sales of the year. That's savings on savings. It's more time shopping and less time searching. With Rakuten, you're always saving at your favorite stores on the things you're already buying. Cash back is automatically applied to your account as you shop, and you get paid via Interac e-transfer, PayPal, or your check. Now's the time to join. Up to 15% cash back ends on December 1st. Plus, new members will receive a welcome bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.ca, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's Rakuten, Rakuten. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
All right, welcome back to Matchup Maximizer. We've talked Ducks and Sharks. A couple more teams play 4 times, avoiding the Saturday. So like I said, Tuesday and Thursday aren't so busy, so it might be just as good to get someone from either Dallas or Washington. Dallas goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Washington goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So both the same schedule. Again, you can get 3 games by Friday and then a Sunday. So it's just a matter of if you can fit the Tuesday game makes the difference on whether you want to stream one of those guys. But you probably will be able to in a lot of leagues. And in a league like the Keeping Karlsson Ultimate Patriot Fantasy League, you can probably fit someone in. So let's take a look at who you could potentially consider grabbing from Dallas. They're, of course, super stacked with the high-end guys. You're not going to get a Rantanen, Robertson, Johnston, Heiskanen, Rope Hintz. No chance. Could you get a Tyler Seguin? I was talking about Seguin for a while. He's climbed up the percent rostered. He's up 15%. Yahoo shows me this. So I guess in just like a day. So, okay. I mean, he's on a hot streak. Like, definitely get Tyler Seguin if you can. At this point, it's like, why not? Like, I don't know. I think it's obvious. He's playing with Robertson and Hintz. Do it. The next line has been Johnston with Ben and Rantanen. So that name, Jamie Benn, only 15% rostered, and Ben is coming off a really nice week. He had a goal against Utah yesterday. He had an assist versus Seattle the game before. He had a goal and assist versus Edmonton in that crazy 8-3 win. So great week for Jamie Benn. Not even over. They're playing still tomorrow on Sunday. So that's a pretty sweet, by the way, from Dallas. You get a Sunday savior and then still also get 4 games next week. So definitely if you can get Jamie Benn at this point, get 5 games over the next 8 days. That works really well for you as long as he holds that spot with Johnston and Rantanen. Like, why not? Though, of course, the problem is that's it. The bottom 6, they're loading up the top 6. Sometimes Dallas goes like 3 lines. I guess it's different when Matt Duchene is in the lineup. But without Duchene, you are just looking at that Jamie Benn and maybe Tyler Seguin as the guys to add. And there's really kind of nobody else. Like, is there a defenseman maybe you would want to take a look at? No, I don't know. Essa Lindell has 2 points in his last 4 games. Like, he's playing huge minutes, like sometimes over 25 minutes a game for a lot of these games. So, you know, if you're in a super deep league, get a top pairing. Essa Lindell might give you something in 4 games. Maybe it'll give you 1 or 2 points. But, you know, it's not going to be a week winner, that's for sure. Sam Steele every once in a while would be in a good spot on the roster. Definitely not lately and definitely not doing anything. He had 1 good game. He had in that game against Edmonton, 1 goal, 1 assist for Sam Steele. Aside from that, he doesn't do anything. So that's Dallas. Over in Washington, I guess we're at the point in the season already where I feel like I've talked about all these teams so many times. But yeah, so like I said, Washington, same schedule, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So you're getting 4 games. So if you can fit the Tuesday, then you're pretty golden. Who are we targeting over on the Capitals? You're obviously not getting the red hot Jacob Chikrin. You're not getting Ovi, John Carlson, Tom Wilson, Dylan Strome. Could you get Alexei Protas? Maybe. He's 59% rostered if you're in a shallower league. Do you want Alexei Protas? Yeah, top 6, playing with Tom Wilson. I'll take it. Justin Surdeef has been his center in the last game against the Leafs, the 4-2 win. So that's not too bad. The lines were Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier, and then Protas, Surdeef, and Wilson. So Protas is pretty good, I think. Surdeef, am I even pronouncing that right? Surdeef or Surdeef? He had a couple good games recently, but I wouldn't expect much from him, and I could see definitely him not holding that spot all week. Connor McMichael, I thought was going to be good. Got bumped, had a couple nothing. Was a great stream last week, but then ended the week badly because he got bumped to the 3rd line. Then this week he's been pretty good again. He had a goal and an assist versus Toronto, a goal the game before. So yeah, we're looking at 4 points in his last 3 games, a ton of shots. So Connor McMichael's hard to ignore, but then also you look at even strength. He's playing with Duhaime and Leonard on the third line, so it's probably not the kind of thing I'd expect to continue, but worth a shot. I don't know. He's not on the top power play. Like, there's really not. But though Washington has been giving both power plays kind of even time lately, like in the game against Toronto, both of them, were like, you have a minute and 33 seconds I'm seeing with the McMichael line, and then 1:57 with the top line, which had Ryan Leonard on it, by the way. So, McMichael's definitely pretty good if you can get him, especially since there's also still the chance that he gets back on the top line with McDavid and Strome, which would be the most ideal. So give me, I think McMichael might be my number one just because he's hot and has the opportunity to move up. Then give me Dylan Strome if you can get him. And then, like I said, Ryan Leonard on the top power play. I don't mind that. He has 2 assists in his last 3 games. And I guess those are going to be our main targets. Anthony Beauvillier, if you're in a very deep league. If he's playing with Strome and Ovi, like, it's pretty sweet. And he does have 2 points in his last 2 games. He had a goal against Toronto. This is, again, one of those things where I really just don't want to come on the show and say, like, jump on Beauvillier, because I could see him losing that spot or even in that spot not doing something. But yeah, there's my order. So go McMichael, then Protas, then Leonard, then Beauvillier of the potential guys that you can stream in. Ethan Frank, remember him? He had those big games a couple of weeks ago. He did have an assist 2 games ago against Winnipeg, but it's been pretty quiet aside from that. So he can be after Beauvillier in my list. And those are the Washington Capitals. I guess I'll end now. There's a bunch of teams playing 4 times. So again, if you can play someone on Saturday, then you really have a big wealth of options. And you can just kind of look at half the league as potential teams that play 4 times. So I think I'm going to end with focusing on teams that give you 2 games by Wednesday. I always like that as a stream. And then you could always shift away after that. So we have a few more that fit the bill there. Like Buffalo, like I mentioned, goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So maybe you even get all 3 games and then move on. And they were just talking on the last short shifts how there's a lot of interesting guys on Buffalo lately. As you're not going to get Dahlin or Tage Thompson or Alex Tuck, but potentially any other forward could be available to stream. Matthias Samuelsson, you could get a defenseman also. He looked like he might be injured, but I guess he's back playing today. So right now it's actually end of 1. Buffalo's losing 2-1 to Minnesota. Who's our Buffalo goal scorer here? Beck Malenstein, of course, as we would have easily predicted, assisted by Peyton Krebs and Josh Doon. So I'm not going to be recommending any of those guys. But yeah, on short shifts, they were talking about how that second line of Zucker, McLeod, and Quinn were all looking pretty good. So I think I'm into Jason Zucker for sure, since he's also on the top power play. And then, so he's interesting. Zach Benson, I still like, even though he's been a little cold since he's come back, only 1 assist in 4 games. Zucker, by the way, had that goal and assist versus Pittsburgh. No one had any points in the last game versus New Jersey. And like I said, no one of substance any games so far through a period in today's game against Minnesota. But I would definitely look at Jason Zucker. Jack Quinn is coming off a couple really big games. He had goals in 3 straight before that shutout against New Jersey. That second line, Ryan McLeod, I guess, finishes that off. Looking good. Quinn, Zucker, McLeod. Then Tage has been playing with Benson, so I like Benson. At this point, it's like, do I have to rank them even? Like, even though Benson is cold, if he's playing on the top line with Tage and top power play, I mean, I wish Tage was actually doing a little better. Maybe it would help me have a better chance of winning my matchup this week. He's gone kind of cold, pointless in 3 games now. So I don't love that. Before that, he had goals in 6 straight. That was much better. So wake up, Tage Thompson. I guess you can take the rest of the day off because it looks like I'm going to lose anyways. And then next week for this good 4-game or 3-game schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't want to go into the weekend looking at less than 10 fantasy points total from Tage Thompson. That is unacceptable. But I don't think that'll happen. He's good. And so you want Zach Benson playing with him at even strength and on the power play. Then give me maybe Zucker even over Benson, and then McLeod, and then Jack Quinn, then McLeod. Then I guess you can look also at Josh Doan, who, like I said, is on the top power play. He's been cooling off a little bit. He had a 2-goal game, like I guess it's a couple weeks ago now, but I still like him on the top power play. So I think those are your guys. A lot of fun options there, and it's hard to predict who's going to be the one that produces. Who's this Tyler Kozak guy, by the way? I didn't even mention him playing on the top line today with Tage and Benson. He gets a lot of hits and blocks actually for a forward. Those are like defenseman numbers, so. Maybe I have to look at my Dynasty Cats League and see if Tyler Kozak is available. He seems good for the Periffs, and if he's on the top line, I guess there's always the threat for a point, though I don't see anything happening there. Those are the Sabres. Let's see. And like I said, you get those 2 early week games, and you could always reassess. after that, we can look at the Montreal Canadiens, who play 4 games. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday, Sunday. So that's just a good opportunity to get the Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you see if the guy you added is worth holding. Definitely Zach Bolduc is at the point where he may be an ad for not only a stream, but just a long-term hold, even though Montreal just got spanked today by Colorado 7-2. Before that, Bolduc had 2 straight multi-point games, a goal and 2 assists versus Utah, goal and an assist versus Vegas. Nothing today, but he did hold his spot. I mean, after a blowout like that, maybe something could change, so maybe check before you rushed. But I think I would just rush to add just in case. But Bolduc has been playing with Caulfield and Suzuki, and he's been playing also on the top power play with those guys and Slav and Hudson, so it's like the best spot you can be on the Habs if you're not one of those stars. So I think Bolduc is like you rush to grab him and hold as long as he's in that spot. So it's not even a stream. That's going to be like mega show, grab the guy, okay? Aside from Bolduc, who's going to be available for you to add on Montreal? That's interesting. I guess the only name that kind of jumps out is Oliver Kapanen. If he's going to be centering that second line of Slavkovsky and Demidov, I mean, it's a good spot. Like, those are good players. Not as good as Caulfield and Suzuki. Kapanen had an assist today against Colorado, had an assist a couple games ago versus Utah. So, I mean, if you think Slavkovsky and Demidov are good and are not going to only get points in the power play, Demidov not even on the top power play right now. And they talked about on the Mega Show how much of a for sure hold is he. He's still really hot. So he just only doesn't shoot much. He scored a goal today though on only 2 shots. So I guess if you're a good shooter, maybe you don't need to shoot as much. So for fantasy, we like to see those shots. So yeah, anyways, Demidov is whatever. You're obviously holding him for a good schedule week. And then I think Kapanen is a decent deep league. I'm going to add him to my watch list, please. I have a opening. One of these players I mentioned on this show, I'm going to add. Though, I'm not going to lie, I have an opening even on Saturday. So I could add even, I might even consider adding, this is going to be blasphemy, right? My stream might even just be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday guy, the most boring schedule. Because there's teams that play 4 times, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. But I could just do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, get the player who I think is actually the best. And then just reassess for Sunday. If I'm winning by a lot or losing by a lot, then I can decide if I want to hold the player because I think he's good, or if not, then I could swap to someone else. So you don't have to only go for good schedules, especially in a week like this where you may have openings on all the days. But yeah, for Montreal, in a deeper league, just like Oliver Kapanen, centering a good line. And like I said, you get the Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe you don't hold all the way till the Saturday. Maybe you drop for someone playing Thursday or Friday, and then you swap to the weekend. You can go back to Kapanen even after that. So, okay, we got the Devils. They go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So that's a pretty sweet schedule. Of course, New Jersey is a little bit shorthanded with Jack Hughes injured. They've been loading up. The top line's been Hischier, Meyer, and Bratt, so it's not like anyone else is getting great exposure to anyone. You've got Dawson Mercer on the second line with Gritsuk and Palat, and Mercer's the one on the power play, so the top power play, I should say. So he's definitely the next most interesting. Like I said, he did pick up an assist today in this game versus Philly that's still ongoing. Also an assist in the previous game versus Buffalo, so nothing crazy, but Mercer's getting on the score sheet. Arseny Gritsuk has been, he had 2 goals against Buffalo in the 5-0 win. Nothing today so far, but if he's going to be playing on that second line, he's going to get decent minutes. He had, maybe not actually. It might be, they might actually just kind of give it similar minutes as the third line with Brown and Glass and Paul Cotter. So yeah, it's not a, honestly, I think Gritsuk is really talented, and also there is the potential that he could just get, maybe they decide to split up Hischier, Bratt, and Meyer and spread the offense around a little bit. So I think that we've seen before Gritsuk get onto that top line. So I think he and Mercer's probably not even available in a lot of leagues. He's 50% rostered. So I think the other option to consider is 32% rostered Simon Nemec, who I had for a moment, got excited about him, dropped him. He's been getting a point every second game, which is good, not amazing, but he did score today. I saw on Twitter it was a rocket, very, very strong shot by Simon Nemec. I sound like a guy who's never watched hockey in my life. But yeah, he scored the goal there, and it looked like it was a gun. So he's good. Aside from that, yeah, New Jersey, again, when they're loading up the top line, you kind of just want someone on the top 6. I don't want Palat. I don't even care what line he's on, because even when he's on a good line, he's going to get bumped anyways, and he never really does much of anything. Okay, just to give you the data, he did have 2 assists in the game versus Buffalo, but that's after a zillion games of no points. So I think that's pretty much what we're looking at there for New Jersey. But yeah, that's a pretty good schedule if you can get a Gritsuk or a or a Mercer. Well, Mercer you probably can't get. Maybe I'm in dreamland there, but maybe a Gritsuk becomes interesting there, at least to start the week. You got Philly going Monday, Wednesday, Sunday. So if you're full on Saturday and your options are kind of limited, that's like potentially a really good stream, especially since you can just start with the Monday, Wednesday and go from there. Like I said, I have Tyson Forrester on my couple team. I'm planning to hold him for the Monday, Wednesday, and then I'm assuming I'll probably drop him. He only scores goals on games where he's on my bench, apparently. But next week, he will definitely be in the roster for the Monday, Wednesday if I hold on, which I think I will. They're against Pittsburgh and Buffalo, both home games. I think these are games where Philly should be able to score some goals. I'm hoping Forrester will be able to get in on something. He's been playing. Okay, here's what's weird. I'll need someone to explain this to me. He's playing on a line with Cates and Konechny, and then Forrester's also been on the top power play with Cates, Konechny, Zegras, and Cam York. Yet today, in this game, which is now 4-3 for Philly over New Jersey, Travis Konechny has a goal and an assist, and Tyson Forrester has nothing. Also, Travis Konechny is +2, and Tyson Forrester is like a 0 for his plus minus. So what happened? I'm seeing Konechny scored a goal assisted by York and Sanheim, but was Forrester not on the ice there? He's supposed to be, the whole reason I like him is because he's playing with Konechny. Then there's a goal from Michkov assisted by Konechny and Sanheim. So how did that happen? So I don't know. But assuming that Forrester is playing with Konechny at even strength and on the power play, seems like a good guy to get who's low percent rostered. I'll probably drop after Wednesday, but he's only 9% rostered. He's probably the guy that you can get. I assume you can't get Owen Tippett. I don't want to say it's I'll just say that if your league has Owen Tippett available, it's probably a very shallow league, in which case you could probably drop someone, get the Monday, Wednesday from Tippett, and then move on. He has a goal and an assist today. He's been getting points most games. I guess he had a couple pointless games in there, but overall, Tippett seems like a really good threat to do something for you. I guess he'd be better if he was on the top power play. Michkov at this point may be falling in percent rostership. He hasn't been too incredible. Like I said, he did score today. It's now a 3-game point streak. So maybe if he was dropped and you're in a shallow league, now's the time to start jumping on, especially if somehow he is with Konechny and something just weird happened today where they are trying out some different lines. As far as even lower percent rostered players, Couturier scored 2 games in a row. I find it hard to bank on Sean Couturier being someone worth grabbing, but for just a Monday, Wednesday, he's been centering Brink and Michkov. That's a pretty good spot to be. Then you can look at Dvorak, who hasn't done much lately, but he's playing with Tippett and Zegras. Dvorak does have an assist today, so I think that those would be your options. Let me just give you the lines again. It's kind of 3 good lines. It's Konechny, Kate. Oh, so then there's Noah Cates also, who hasn't really done much of anything. But Cates, has been centering Konechny and Forrester, and then you've had Dvorak with Tippett and Zegras, and then you've had Couturier with Brink and Michkov. So if I'm going to rank the guys who might be available to you, assuming you're not going to be able to get Konechny or Zegras or Tippett, then next give me Forrester, then give me... Oh, and assuming you can't get Michkov also, then I think I'll go Couturier, and then Dvorak, and then Cates, maybe Bobby Brink. So a few less interesting options there. But I think Tyson Forrester is going to be the guy I'm going to jump on, especially since I added him. On defense, Jamie Drysdale had a 2-assist game recently. Aside from that, not doing too much. Cam York's been the one on the top power play. I wonder how long that'll hold. He does have an assist today and had an assist a couple games ago. So maybe, Philly never seems to keep their top power play going that long. But pretty crazy for Drysdale to have been bumped from, it looks like all the power plays at this point. He's supposed to be their top power play guy going into the year. So I guess that's kind of a bust. And he was traded, if you remember, for Cutter Gauthier. I know Gauthier wanted out, but I wonder if Philly could have maybe played hardball a little more, because that's definitely not looking like it's working out for them. But okay, those are the Flyers, and I think we're pretty much done here. I guess we have 2 more teams that play 2 times by Wednesday. So I did promise, even though it's getting a little late here. Utah Mammoth, they go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so the same schedule as the Devils. Utah, I feel like definitely I've talked about Utah a lot over the week, so we got our same cast of characters here. You're not getting Keller, Sergachev, Ganther, Cooley, Schmaltz, Paterka. Pretty much anyone else could be up for grabs. Barrett Hayton actually scored a goal recently in the game against Montreal. Somehow Hayton, well, not somehow, he tends to get that top power play spot, I guess because he's good at faceoffs. Cooley's still able to do just fine even when he's not on the top power play. But yeah, as far as the lines go for Utah, if you want to know who's currently got exposure, that might be interesting to you. It's been Schmaltz, Keller, Paterka, Ganther, Cooley, and Kyler Yamamoto. And then Hayton, I'm seeing 4th line. So I don't know. So what's going on here? Kyler Yamamoto. I'm going to be honest. I did not come into this recording expecting to mention Kyler Yamamoto. Remember when he was like a super high pedigree guy over on Edmonton? He was supposed to be... look at it, he's actually doing okay lately. He's got 3 points over his last 4 games going into today's game versus St. Louis. They're scoreless around halfway through the game. I mean, if Yamamoto's playing with Cooley and Gunther, it's really good. I don't know if he's going to hold it, but if we're talking Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you can always wait for the Monday lines to come out. See how Yamamoto does today. But yeah, then wait for the Monday lines to come out. If you're in a deep enough league, I could see it. I mean, obviously power play would be nice, but that would be maybe asking too much. We're looking like 12 minutes a game, so not a guarantee, but he doesn't shoot. Honestly, actually, what am I even saying? Don't grab Kyler Yamamoto. I don't even care. But I do like playing with Cooley and Gunther. What can I say? Okay, then let's end with the Winnipeg Jets. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So that same schedule that we like. There's always a Nino Niederreiter, right? He's like a Gudas except as a forward. He's always usually out there, and he scored today. Look at that. So he'd actually been scoreless for 4 games. But he's probably not going to go scoreless for 4 games again. I'll bet you in these 4 games, he's going to score a goal. Nino, maybe get you an assist or 2, maybe even have a multi-point game. He'll have 2 or 3 of the games will be completely nothing. But then one of them, he'll do something. I feel like he's just a solid third-line guy that knows how to get in on the offense once in a while. Jets have been running Connor, Scheifele, Velarde, Taves, Nemesnikov, Perfetti, and then Nino with Lowry and Iafallo. So aside from my good old Nino Niederreiter, who I always tend to like, there's really been no one producing too much lately on Winnipeg outside of the top guys, your Scheifele and Connor and Velarde. So yeah, I think Nino. Perfetti, if in a shallower league, he hasn't done much, but I like Perfetti on the top power play. It looks like he scored today in the game against Nashville, which is still ongoing. So yeah, Perfetti definitely number 1. If he's out there, then give me Nino, and then you could always reassess after the Monday, Wednesday or something. Though, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday, I should say, sorry. And Monday is against Buffalo, Wednesday, Montreal, who have had some trouble keeping goals out lately, as we saw today versus Colorado. And then Friday, Buffalo again. So yeah, potentially a good opportunity for some goals from the Jets. Maybe Perfetti can get going, build on this goal he scored today. So there's Matchup Maximizer for this week. Bit of a long one. Hopefully I've given you some players to consider. Would love to hear some feedback on the format. Though I always ask for this, then I don't know if I ever actually change anything, but I'm still very interested to see. I kind of like just going through all the teams and kind of talk about all the players. I know in the past we've had shows where we were just who are the top 5 streamers of the week? But I don't know. I just kind of think as a listener, I would enjoy just kind of tell me everyone, then let me kind of then parse through and see who of all these names is available and who I like here. But hopefully I've given you someone. I'd love to hear who you end up adding. If anyone adds anyone based on what they heard on the show, I would definitely love to hear that, and then find out if you're happy with me or mad at me by the end of the week. So once again, thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed to Keeping Karlsson. Brian and I will have a big mega show tomorrow, where we'll talk about a bunch of different hot and cold streaks and some big injuries and oucheries. Brady Tkachuk is back. That's fun. So yeah, and then another week of short shifts and another Matchup Maximizer next weekend. We just keep the machine running, trying our best to help you be successful in fantasy hockey, and hopefully have a good time while we're at it. So see you tomorrow at the Mega Show. Bye.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.